Okay, y'all, for our final category.
Our final category, I cannot wait. I feel like we should read them together.
I feel like we should.
Okay, here are the 10 nominees for Best Motion Picture of the Year.
Here they are.
Here we go.
Honora, Alex Coco, Samantha Kwan, and Sean Baker, producers.
Boom. The Brutalist, nominees to be determined.
A Complete Unknown, Fred Berger, James Mangold, and Alex Heineman, producers.
Conclave, Tessa Ross, Juliette Howell, and Michael A. Jackman, producers.
Dune, Part 2, Mary Parent, Cale Boyder, Tanya Lapointe, and Denis Villeneuve, producers.
Emilia Pérez, nominees to be determined, producers.
I'm Still Here, nominees to be determined.
Guys, paperwork, let's go. Come on. Nickel Boys, nominees to be determined.
PGA. The Substance, nominees to be determined.
And Wicked, Mark Platt, producer.
Woo!
There it is, you guys.
There it is, y'all.
Big morning for Emilia Pérez, for The Brutalist, and for Wicked as the 97th Academy Awards were announced, and you saw them here live on CBC Morning Live. We're going to go through them with Eli, but just a quick second. What does that mean, nominees to be determined? Like the whole half the slate there.
So for months, this movie has been campaigning, and they've been trying to become the belle of the ball. And now finally, you have that nomination. But if you look at the credits of a film, you see many producers. And now the question is, who was really the producer? Who is going to get to be on the podium if it wins? And I think it factors into the invitation to the actual Academy Awards. So there are producers, and then there are producers, and sometimes there's a little quiet knife fights in the background as you start to realize now you're an Oscar nominee, and let's kind of figure out who gets to go.
That's good. You needed to know that backstory. Let's jump right into the highlights of the nominations. What stood out?
Emilia Pérez, once again, as predicted, but that doesn't take away from what has been accomplished. I mean, keep in mind just how audacious this film is. A Spanish-language musical about a crime drug-running boss who transitions and becomes Emilia Pérez herself. And now we have Karla Sofia Gascón creating history as the first openly transgender nominee in the Best Actress category. She is the center of this film, but there's Zoe Saldana. I mean, I think we know Saldana from so many things, including the Avatar films, but she shows us a different side in this film as a lawyer who, yes, occasionally sings. And so this is a film with, big emotions, a very kind of audacious kind of storyline, and now 13 nominations to its credit. That is quite something. Now, in the kind of second place in terms of nominations would be Wicked. And I would put that almost as a bit of a surprise because this was a big box office smash. Critics were somewhat divided, but the audience spoke, and I think the voters of the Academy, the some 10,000 voters, listened, and this is an amazing triumph for John M. Chu, director who was not nominated, but that green hand and that blonde there, Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo, both Oscar nominees this morning in the Best Actress and Supporting Actress category. The witch, who's not so wicked, but then of course becomes, and this is only the first part of two. And so some people, watching the race were thinking, perhaps they're going to save those awards for part two. That's generally what happens. You look at The Lord of the Rings and how it performed at the Oscars, but 10 nominations this morning. That is really quite something. Let's move on to The Brutalist. I mean, it's quite the tonal shift from wicked and popular to a very kind of brutal film about an architect who is an amazing artist who loves what's called brutalism, creating these magnificent buildings that have this kind of weight, lots of cement. And finally, this Jewish immigrant, comes to America, gets a patron to create a masterpiece, but then things get very complicated. An amazing film about art and about following your vision, but also how obsession can eat away at you. Adrian Brody, I would say he is the one to beat in the Best Actor race. Guy Pearce, an actor we haven't seen for a while, nominated this morning, so an amazing accomplishment from an amazing film.
3.5 hours, you said, with
3.5 hours
intermission,
with
but
intermission.
worth it. Best Picture nominee. What about any surprises for you?
So, I mean, I would put Cynthia Erivo there as Wicked. We were talking around 7 o'clock about that Best Actress race and kind of who was going to get in that fifth slot. I mean, Nicole Kidman, Baby Girl, did not get in there, but Cynthia Erivo, you know, this is a big kind of colorful role, and she is an amazing actor. That is quite the category. Look, Carla, Demi Moore, Mikey Madison, and then the Fernandez, the actor from
Torres,
Brazil,
yeah.
Torres.
Yes.
Yeah. So amazing stuff. I don't know. I'm not going to predict that one. I don't know anymore. I'm kind of struggling between Carla and Demi. Let's talk about snubs. Sing Sing. So Clarence Macklin is someone who was in prison, came out of prison. He was part of this theater program that is the center of this amazing movie called Sing Sing, where inmates learned how to create plays for the population. He basically was playing a version of himself. It was a documentary about him that inspired this film. Coleman Domingo was nominated this morning, but Sing Sing would not be as stunning without what Clarence Macklin brought to this movie. Unfortunately, because this would be a life-changing nomination for this actor who's just starting out. I talked to him at TIFF. He had just gotten an agent. Unfortunately, he's been overlooked this morning. And Sing Sing cut out of the Best Picture race.
You thought it was a shoo-in.
Quite surprised, because it's been doing very well at many of the other award ceremonies. So we'll see about that. Another surprise, positive one, Sebastian Stan playing Donald J. Trump in The Apprentice. Let me underline, there were many who thought this movie would never be seen. When it premiered, it was served with a lawsuit. Donald Trump, the President of the United States, was trying to keep this movie from making it to the public. It did make it to the public, and Sebastian Stan, you may know him from the Marvel movies as the Winter Soldier. He has been on a tear, making really brave choices as an actor, and he's nominated this morning for playing the young version of the President. Jeremy Strong, you know him from The Apprentice, also nominated for his performance as Roy Cohn. Sebastian Stan also getting some love for his makeup in A Different Man, a very different kind of film that he was also remarkable in. So Stan, what a wonderful actor who is making very interesting choices. That is a positive. Let me give you one more negative, and that is Pamela Anderson in The Last Showgirl. I think it just opened in Canadian theaters. I highly recommend this film. It is about a Vegas showgirl who realizes her world is changing. Look at that expression on her face. Anderson put everything into that role. I would have loved to see some love from the voters this morning, but perhaps Demi Moore kind of sucked up all the attention for that kind of comeback narrative.
Right.
So no love for Anderson this morning, but I do want to mention another surprise. Jamie Lee Curtis, but she already has an Oscar, so she'll be fine. Sugar Cane, we have to talk about Sugar Cane. Sugar Cane is a documentary. The co-director is Canadian Julian Brave Noisecat, and this is a documentary where Julian himself basically follows an investigation into St. Joseph Mission, a BC, a residential school that was being investigated for what occurred there. I mean, this is a school that was open from 1886 to 1981, and the director's father went to that school and carried with him the weight of what happened at that school. And the documentary follows the son talking to his father and others and following this investigation, but slowly unpacking what actually occurred in between those walls. So that is Sugar Cane, which is nominated this morning, a remarkable documentary.
One of a few, not too many Canadian nominees. Denis Villeneuve mentioned as part of that too.
Certainly.
With Dune 2. Okay, Eli, thank you so much. I know you're going to be giving more coverage through the day on CBC News Network, and the Oscars, March the 2nd.